Welcome back to the kitchen for Food City Friday. Got Kirby Moir, registered dietitian with Food City, with us here. We're talking about National Diabetes Month here and talking about recipes. We were talking about fiber earlier. There's some other things you need to keep in mind when you're preparing meals for diabetics.
Absolutely. And we kind of talked about fiber first because I think people shouldn't be afraid of eating those carbohydrate-rich choices, but we want to balance those carbs on the plate.
Okay.
And when it comes to that, there's a couple things that we can kind of focus on. The first one being vegetables.
Right over here.
Again, I've said this probably a lot. No one is surprised the dietitian is recommending you to eat more vegetables.
Right.
But if you do have diabetes, especially at lunch and dinner, half of your plate should be coming from what we call non-starchy vegetables.
Okay.
And that means that these choices are really high in water, they're really high in fiber, but they are low in carbohydrate. They're also going to give you essential nutrients. So if you're somebody that you're like, you know, I'm eating a portion of carb and then I'm feeling like that wasn't enough food volume for me, this is going to help with that volume factor.
Okay.
Things that are going to work: mushrooms, cucumbers, broccoli, leafy greens, asparagus, peppers, onions. It's a huge list of selection and variety there.
You've got a bag of slaw here. I mean, I think a lot of folks, you know, coleslaw, it goes with so many different things.
Absolutely. And I might share that recipe tip for another day, but a good thing to do with that too, you can actually cook that down with like ground meat.
Okay.
We call it an egg roll in a bowl.
Ah, nice.
We'll maybe save that for another segment.
You're getting the egg roll without the roll part
exactly.
on it. I like that. That's good thinking.
And then, of course, as we mentioned, that's going to be some lower carbohydrate, high nutrient choices.
Okay.
The other thing that is really going to help balance your plate is protein.
Right.
And since so many diabetics hear about carbohydrates and they're maybe focusing on that, it is a bit of a balancing act. You want to get your fiber-rich carbs, but getting protein in actually slows that digestion. And typically animal sources of protein, meats, fish, eggs, actually don't contain any carbohydrates.
What? Yeah, really?
None.
None.
Now,
that's why people go on keto diets.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which, from a diabetic perspective, you might need some personal recommendation if that's something
that's
that
a lot
you
of
want to
things
explore.
You need to discuss a lot of this with your physician.
That's right. Yep. Or a registered dietitian, if you got a good one, you know.
Right here.
And that might be a solution for some people. But really, when we're looking at diabetics, if you're not getting adequate protein in, that can also affect those blood sugar control. So some things that I like to focus on are heart healthy protein choices, and those are going to be lower in saturated fat. Salmon is phenomenal. We talked about fish a lot last month in October, but something I really like for a quick, easy lunch option is to do a wrap. You can also do like a high fiber. You mentioned keto. It actually says keto friendly on there. This is a lower carb wrap option.
Very good.
With a salmon salad.
Okay.
So I actually did oven roasted salmon, which is going to be really, really nice.
And how handy is that?
Super simple, And these come pre-portioned too.
Right.
So if you're wondering about that portion control factor, a little bit of Greek yogurt. I did do a little bit of mayo in there too. Onion, celery, cucumber, and then you can do that with your wrap, some extra greens. So we're getting our carbs, we're getting our protein, we're getting our vegetable in.
And you're getting it all in one dish.
So if you're doing those kind of counting on your finger, that can be a really simple technique to help balance out those meals.
All right, Kirby Moir. Always great information. Registered dietitian Kirby Moir. Hey folks, we want to send you over to foodcity.com because they've got everything you've seen here today and so very much more.